Hey guys, happy Sunday. So I just wanted to send you guys this video breakdown on NASDAQ really quickly. We do have Powell speaking at 12:30, so I believe he has already spoken. Sunday 12:30, Powell is speaking, so we could expect the market to open with some volatility. So basically what I have done here is I've marked out my chart now. I've marked out all of my important key levels. So basically what I'm looking for is the market to open. And these green lines at the bottom, they represent long entries, right? Areas where I would be going long. So these levels were drawn out off of the 5 minute time frame, and these levels represent liquidity levels, right? So the red areas, the red lines at the top are potential short levels, right? So if price starts breaking up, if price starts breaking up, breaks the wedge, right, we could see potential shorts coming off of the top of the wedge back down into the trend line here. But ideally, what I'm looking for is for price to hold this level, right? So 1620 or 620 level for me to potentially go back long into a sell side liquidity level here, right? So this is actually a buy side liquidity level, but off of this sweep, I could expect some downside movement. If this sweep doesn't hold and price starts to structure long, then I'll be targeting longs back up into this high up here at 760, and then the highs at 735 here, 734. That's where I'll be looking for the longs to play out to. Right, these red lines represent shorts. So these lines will, if price can react, if they can sweep that liquidity, then I'll be looking for potential short plays off of these red lines, right, as they represent potential entries, right? Any of these levels could give us a nice short entry. If we start falling down, if price starts coming down off through this green line, and then it starts coming through this green line. So these levels are still going to represent buys off of the sweeps, right? So if we can get sweeps of these levels here, then we are going to look for long positions back up. And long positions are going to come back up into this downtrend line until this downtrend line gets broken out of, gets retested, and then we'll be looking for that continuation upwards, right? Again, so with these green lines, they are long areas. So I want to be looking for buys off of these long areas, right? But in case, right, in case price decides to continue lower, we have lower targets to the downside here. So if we get, an opening push up and we get that sweep of liquidity and we start coming back down, when we get down through these green lines and we can either break and retest them or break and hold underneath these levels, then that would confirm to me that we could be coming back down and trying to take out these lower liquidity levels. So if price starts to break and retest these levels, then I'll be looking to go short off of these levels and kind of just following the levels all the way down until it decides to sweep one of these levels and then start coming back up through all of these levels, right? So these are all liquidity levels, right? So price can bounce bullish off of any of these zones. So this is why I have them drawn out, and I'll be waiting to see if price can break and retest this zone to the downside. So if we can get a breakout, a retest, price starting to hold up in that zone to continue lower, right, into these liquidity levels here, or if price is going to bounce right from where it is, right? If price is going to bounce up, back down to that liquidity level, hold it, and then continue going long into these liquidity levels up here, right? So this is going to be an area, this whole zone right here. This is going to be an area to watch because we do have demand here. Price is starting to shoot up from this area. We came down and rejected 545. So this area is really key right now. If they want to sweep and go long, this is probably the low that I would expect them to come down and sweep and then take it back long. If they are to continue short, then I would like them to come down to break through that level, to pop back up, and then come back under that level for me to go short into these levels. right? So another scenario is if this price all the way down, it comes all the way down, and it comes back outside or comes back inside of this line, then we start to bounce on the bullish side of this line, then I'll be looking for a potential long back up right into these red levels. So removing all of these arrows, I know it might be a little bit confusing, so I'm going to try and simplify it for you guys here. Basically, if we're going long, we're targeting these red lines up here. These red lines represent short areas where price can come short. If we are to come bearish off of the news, then these are our target areas. And these target areas are potential areas where price can bounce back bullish, right? And that's probably the easiest way I can explain it to you. So I have my 15-minute wedge drawn here. So I have my downtrend line, I have my uptrend line from this low to this low right here. And basically, based off the wedge breakouts, we'll be waiting for breakout through the levels to continue up, keep those levels. And at that point, we could potentially look for a short back down. Right? If it starts to break and if it breaks out and starts to hold this level, right? Maybe it'll come back down a little bit, right? Maybe it'll come back down a little bit through these levels. If it starts to structure around this high right here, about 75, 76, if it starts to structure bullish, then I'll be looking for a continuation long back up, right? Just from these levels. So this is basically what I can see for NASDAQ. Just going off of like 15-minute time frame levels marked off of the 5-minute time frame. So we can see all of our targets to the upside or the downside, and it just depends on how the market's going to react. I probably won't be entering the market when it opens. I'll wait for that gap or whatever to create because of Powell. So there should be some volatility when market opens. I'll wait for that open gap. I'll let the run, whichever direction is going to happen, I'll let it go, and then I'll wait to catch the retracement for the gap fill. Right, and that's basically how I'm going to be going at the markets today for market open. If it's a clear signal, if there's no momentum, if there's no volatility, and it's just kind of choppy sideways, then I won't trade it. Right, I'll wait for price to come and react off one of my levels, and then I'll look for a trade entry. Right, until that happens, then I'm just gonna patiently wait. Right, or I'll try to patiently wait for something to happen here. But this is basically my idea for NASDAQ off of the 5-minute time frame and the 15-minute time frame. If we're going to the higher time frames like the 4-hour, we are in an area where price has come short from. But if we look at this candle right here, right, if we look at this candle and how it closed before market closed on Friday, we could see that price pulled back, and then we had a big rejection from this level here, from I believe it was about level 544, 545. We had a nice big rejection off of this level here. So if price is to continue up, then I would be looking for it to come back up into 690 because we do have 4-hour liquidity above 690. Probably a little bit above 690 by 692. We have some liquidity where it could pop and then come back down. So basically, off of the 4-hour time frame, I could see that price pushed up with momentum. We swept all the liquidity points from up here. We pulled back, and now we had a big rejection from this zone. So we'll need to wait for market to open, see how this candle reacts, because it did close as a bullish candle on Friday. Right, so if it's to continue lower, right, we can see on the 4-hour time frame, we have beautiful targets all the way down, and if it gets under this last point, then at that point we can start marking out some targets lower. But in this sense, it looks like we are trending back up, right? We did hit an important area of liquidity. We did create all-time highs for NASDAQ as well. So I would be looking for this thing to continue up personally. But if it does decide to fall from this zone, we have our marks, right? We have our levels that we have marked out already, and we know how to execute on these levels. right? So that's the analysis for Nasdaq. That's kind of my view and perspective on what Nasdaq can do today. We have our levels marked out, and I'll just be pretty much waiting right now, just waiting for price to come up to one of these levels or get through one of these levels, and just to see how it reacts, we can get our potential trade. So I hope that guys helped. I hope that helps you guys out for the Nasdaq analysis, especially for market open right now. We are expecting to see some sort of gap, some sort of volatility coming into the open. But personally, I will wait for that gap to happen, let that momentum, that volatility kind of slow down, and then maybe catch that retracement for that gap. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good Sunday, and I will see you guys Monday morning. Right, I'll be on Monday morning about 8:30, 9-ish. I want to say 8:30 to 9, but it might be on a little bit earlier. I will send the link in the chat. Anyways, you guys have a good Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow.